The game stays rigged against you, while you play loudly on someone else's board. Silent power flips it. In 21 days, you can become unreadable, efficient, and very hard to move. Picture a mid-level manager in 2019. He tells everyone his plan. Promotion in 12 months, new team, new budget. He talks about it in meetings, on LinkedIn, even over drinks. His boss hears the ambition, feels threatened, and quietly blocks every move. Now look at his colleague. Same level, same company. She says little, asks precise questions, and spends 60 minutes a week mapping who actually controls decisions. She builds one key relationship at a time, protects her calendar, and never talks about her long game. 12 months later, she moves into the role he wanted. This shows a brutal truth. The world rewards leverage, not noise. Sun Tzu called this shaping the situation. Today, we call it building silent advantage. Same principle. Control information, time, and position, and the game tilts quietly in your favor. Real power is quiet, layered, and hard to read. Ancient strategists knew that the side who controls information, tempo, and proximity wins before the visible fight starts. In modern life, that means guard your words, command your hours, curate your circle. Everything else plugs into those three levers. Sun Tzu said, all warfare is based on deception. Today that means you do not broadcast your plans. You design environments where good outcomes become the default. Here is the first framework, the silent power triangle. 3 levers: information, time, circle. Use this when you feel exhausted, visible, and strangely stuck. Information is what flows out of you. For 7 days, treat every sentence as a contract. No venting up the hierarchy. No public next move speeches. You share facts, not fantasies. You ask more than you answer. Time is where your hours actually land. Block the first 60 minutes of each workday as command hour. No phone, no inbox. In that hour, you plan, learn, and move one leverage task forward. A system, a document, a decision, a relationship. Circle is who gets access to you. List the 10 people who consume most of your time. Next to each name, mark compounds or drains. Over the next 14 days, you reduce time with drains by 20% and redirect it into mentors, peers, or partners who actually sharpen you. When you run the silent power triangle in practice, you leak less strategy, you reclaim your mornings, and you stop handing unlimited access to people who weaken your position. Within 2 weeks, your visibility drops, but your influence rises because your actions get sharper and more consistent. Use the silent power triangle when effort is high, results are flat, and everyone knows your plans except you. The second framework is the architect's loop. 4 steps. Observe, frame, decide, build. Use this when you want to move from reacting to quietly designing your future. Observe for 10 minutes daily. You end each day with a short log. What triggered you? Who pulled you off your priorities? Where you gave away emotional control? No judgment, just data. Frame once a week for 30 minutes. You ask what game you are actually in. Is this a status contest, a real value race, or a protection game? You write one sentence that defines the frame on your terms. Decide with a single clear rule. For each recurring situation, you create one rule. For example, you might say, I do not explain long-term plans to anyone who cannot help execute them. Or no same-day emotional replies. I respond tomorrow. Build one asset per week. Each week you build one small asset that outlives your mood. A process document, a savings rule, a client template, a study block. Over 12 weeks, you have 12 assets working, even when you are tired. When you run Architect's Loop, your emotions stop driving the car. Your frame defines the conversation. Decisions are pre-made through rules. Assets compound in the background. Quietly, Over 90 days, you move from piece on the board to architect of a small, real system. Use architect as loop when you are tired of reacting and ready to let systems carry part of the weight. Now let's put this into real situations. First scenario, you lead a product squad with heavy pressure and noisy politics. The problem is that every idea you share gets debated publicly, watered down, or quietly stolen. You run the silent power triangle for 21 days. On information, you stop broadcasting roadmaps in open channels and shift to tight, written documents with only necessary stakeholders. On time, the first 45 minutes each day goes to user data, not Slack, on Circle. You reduce coffee chats with chronic complaters from 3 per week to 1, and replace them with 1 weekly session with an operations partner who can ship features. Within 4 weeks, you ship 1 clean release, reduce pointless meetings by 25%, and your name starts appearing in who actually gets things done conversations. You spoke less. You shipped more. Second scenario, you run a 3-person design studio and live in reactive mode. The problem is that clients set the frame, deadlines keep slipping, and your cash swings wildly month to month. You implement architect's loop. You observe for 7 days and log every urgent client request. You frame the game as we run campaigns, not emergencies. You decide on a new rule. No project starts without a 50% deposit and a written scope. You build 1 standard proposal template and 1 office hours slot each week for clients. In 60 days, you shorten sales cycles by 30%, cut weekend emergencies in half, and finally see a predictable calendar instead of constant chaos. You did not work more hours. You changed the frame and the system. There are 3 traps when you start playing the silent game. First, Stoic theater. Acting cold is not power. If you shut down completely, you lose trust and useful information. The goal is controlled disclosure, not emotional freeze. Second, loud withdrawal. Announcing your new boundaries in a dramatic speech is still noise. Quietly change your calendar, your replies, and your access rules. Let behavior speak. Third, tactical silence without strategy. Being quiet without a plan just makes you invisible and forgettable. Pair silence with daily command hour, clear rules, and 1 asset per week. Here is your 21-day silent power sprint. 5 steps. Day 1 to 3, 30 minutes daily for an information audit. The success signal is a written list of your 5 most common overshares, including plans, worries, money, relationships, and status. Day 4 to 7, 60 minutes daily for command hour. The success signal is that you protect the first hour of each workday and complete 1 leveraged task per day, a system, a document, or a decision. Day 8 to 10, 25 minutes daily for circle recalibration. The success signal is that you list your top 10 contacts, mark compounds or drains, and reduce time with drains by at least 20%. Day 11 to 15, 15 minutes daily for architect's loop journaling. The success signal is that you capture triggers, frames, and 1 new rule in writing, with a minimum of 5 rules by day 15. Day 16 to 21, 45 minutes every other day for asset building. The success signal is that you build 3 small assets that will keep working without you, such as a template, a policy, a savings rule, or a repeatable process. If each line is true at the end of 21 days, your silent power is no longer theory. It is a system. Power moves first in silence, then in structure, and only later in visible results. Your next 21 days matter more than the last 21 months of loud effort. Download the Silent Power Campaign order and start with day 1 today.